Jai Suparikar Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Jiu Ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Radha Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Jiu Ki Jai. Jai Nityalila Pravishto Vishnupad Paramahansa Statara Sata Shri Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishto Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatara Sata Shri Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishto Vishnupad Paramahansa Statara Sata Shri Srila Bhakti Raksak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Srila Gaur Kishore Das Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Saptam Gosai Srila Sachidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Vaishnav Sarvabhaum Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Gauri Vedanta Charya Baladev Vibhushan Prabhu Ki Jai. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai. Srila Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Trai Ki Jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Sad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. How do I adjust this angle of this microphone? Oh, what tightens that? Where's the tightening for that? It's this. Okay. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Sad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Srila Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai. Nam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sigo Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Govardhan Dvarashavanatmaka Shri Braj Mandala Dham Ki Jai. Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Yamuna Ganga Tulsi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Govinda Radha Gopinath Radha Madan Mohan Jiu Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Radha Shyama Sundar Radha Raman Radha Damodar Jiu Ki Jai. Shrimati Lalita Vishaka Adi Ashtasaki Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Manjari Rati Manjari Adi Manjari Vrinda Ki Jai. Shrimati Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Shrimati Purnamasi Yogamaya Devi Ki Jai. Shri Gopishwar Mahadeva Ki Jai. Sarva Bhishta Pradata Giriraj Govardhana Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Jiv Ki Jai. Bhakti Vigna Vinashana Shri Nrsingadev Ki Jai. Bhakta Prabhu Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai. Charo Dham Charo Sampradaya Charo Acharya Ki Jai. Akara Matraj Shri Chaitanya Mat Ki Jai. Varananya Shaka Mat Samuha Ki Jai. Shri Vishwa Vaishnav Raj Sabha Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Tribhuvana Pavana Harinam Sankirtana Ki Jai. Tri Bhuvana Mangala Harinama Prabhu Ki Jai. Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ki Jai. Sachinandan Gaura Hari Ki Jai. Shri Nityananda Mahajana Ki Jai. Shri Panchatattva Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bo.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shri Hare Hare Shri Gaura Bhakta Shri Advaita Hare
So today we are going to begin our Harikatha to celebrate Srila Bhakti Raksak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj Disappearance Day, Tirubhav Mahotsav, which is coming on Monday or Tuesday? No, Monday on the calendar is his disappearance day. So today and Sunday we're going to have a flood of nectar from Srila Sridhar Maharaj and about him. And then on Monday we will go there to Chaitanya Saraswat Mat. There will be a huge festival and there will be many different Vaishnavas. Last year it was just packed with sannyasis and brahmacharis and all the different mats, they all celebrate Srila Sridhar Maharaj. So that's what we're going to do on Monday. And then Tuesday, I can't really say. It's probably the usual Gaudiya Mat time, like they have kirtan starting at about 9 or something in the morning, and then like that. Speaking will probably start no later than 10:30, something like that. So, and then on Tuesday is another class day. So we actually have 3 days in a row of classes. So we will decide at that time. Okay, Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Mukam Kuroti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahabhadanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namani Gauratishe Namaha Nityanandam Namastubhyam Premananda Pradayane Kalo Kalmashanashaya Janava Pataye Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vrindai Tulsi Devi Priyai Keshavasya Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Sachavachai Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I offer my unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Gurudev Nitya Leela Pravishtom Vishnupad Paramahansa Statarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Raksak A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. I'm thinking of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And my same unlimited Dandavat Pranams unto the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Siksha Gurudevs Nitya Leela Pravishtom Vishnupad Paramahansa Statarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Raksak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, whose katha we will be celebrating, and also for his disappearance day on Monday, and also my Dandavat Pranams to the lotus feet of Srila Om Vishnupad Ashtatarasata Sri Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, to all of my Sri Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga, to all the Vaishnavas and all the Vaishnavis. Yes, so in honor of my most worshipable, beloved Sikh Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Raksak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, I want to begin to read various sections from a couple of different books of his, wherein we will hear about his life, and there will also be highlighted so much of his teachings. We have one book called Centenary Edition, and that was printed for his appearance 100th year anniversary. And so in there's biographical information both by others and also by himself. Yes, and then there's also so much collection of very primary central themes of his various harikatha that he was very well known to give. So also there's an introduction to his book, Golden Volcano of Divine Love, which is also interesting. He speaks about his own desire to glorify the Srimad Bhagavatam. So I'm going to begin by reading this introduction. It's not long. About six small pages. So, Golden Volcano of Divine Love is the title. Why is that the title? Anyone can guess? Because Srila Sridhar Maharaj wrote an epic poem, 72 verses, I believe it was, Prema Dhamma Deva Stotram, in Sanskrit. Incredible poetry, exactly in perfect meter that Rupa Goswami used in some of his poetry. Yeah. And it was so beautifully written that his godbrother, well-known perfected soul, Srila Akinchana Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, he was discovered by Srila Sridhar Maharaj to sometimes be going to visit his birthplace, Srila Sridhar Maharaj's birthplace, which is a village right here in Gauramandala, and it's called Hapaniya. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj, because he's his godbrother, Babaji Maharaj, why you are going? I heard you are going there. I'm getting reports, because Srila Sridhar Maharaj's family members are there, so he would get reports that he's circumambulating the birthplace of Srila Sridhar Maharaj and all of that, taking the dust on his head. So Akinchana Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj answered. He answered, I consider the poetry that you have written to be practically on the same level as Srila Rupa Goswami, your Sanskrit poetry. And he loved to sing many verses. I think he probably had memorized the entire Prema Dhamma Deva Stotram. And he used to sing key verses from that all the time in his kirtan, in the middle of his kirtan. You know? Yes, there is. Yes. So, anyway, Srila Bhakti Raksak Sridhar Maharaj, he has played, and to this day and into the future is playing a very, very significant role in the preaching mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. A very, very unique and very appreciated contribution by the Vaishnava community. And that is through his Harikatha. And especially through his Harikatha that he gave in the English language from the time when, just after the disappearance of our Srila Prabhupada, 1977, then beginning of 98, sorry, yeah, 1977 and then the beginning of 1978. And many devotees from all over the world began to come and sit right here, Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, right on that veranda. There's two different places Srila Sridhar Maharaj would sit. One was in his chair, and then the other was facing the Ganga in the backside. And they would put a bed with a mattress and a pillow behind him, and he would sit there, and he would give incredible Harikatha while all the devotees were sitting on the floors in the L-shaped kind of area going all the way back like that. Actually, it was a very astonishing thing to us that we met Srila Sridhar Maharaj at that early period, before any of the politics started to happen. And he was so much available. You know, it reminded me of like a great general, like Bhishma Dev, you know, who fought on many battlefields. And now, you know, he's absorbed, of course, this is taken into consideration that he didn't leave this world, but a person like his stature, right? And he's simply sitting on his veranda. He's the Siksha Guru of all of the Gaudiya Mat, the Siddhanta Acharya. Everyone came to him to understand Siddhanta. And our Srila Prabhupada told his leaders of his movement to go to him and get guidance from him and all of that, which they did in the beginning. So, you know, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he was an uncompromising personality. When it came to Siddhanta, he was uncompromising, but he was also a very harmonizing person. Yes. Even if there was some controversy or some heavy disagreement, quarreling on Siddhanta, this and that. But Srila Sridhar Maharaj would be able to settle that in a very congenial manner, you know? Because he was not an aggressor. That's what he always told about himself. He has different ways in which he would describe his own nature. He would even quote Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that at a particular time Srila Saraswati Thakur told that, Sridhar Maharaj, he is an ease lover. And he would quote that about himself. But he also said, Shastra Nipun, he used that terminology. Shastra Nipun means a genius of the Shastras. Shastra Nipun. He also stated, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur stated about Srila Sridhar Maharaj, the poetry that he wrote in glorification of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I read that poetry on Bhaktivinoda Thakur's disappearance day recently. And there is one verse in there describing how Bhaktivinoda Thakur is the personality who is now fulfilling that which Mahaprabhu came to give, that which Swarup Damodar protected, that which Jiva Goswami, you know, like this. And that verse describes Bhaktivinoda Thakur as being that personality who is giving service to the lotus feet of Srimati Radhika. That's at the end of the whole thing. When Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur saw that, he made a comment. He says, now I feel, I forget the word that he used, but I feel confident that although I will leave this world, but there is someone remaining who can give the actual line, referring to Srila Sridhar Maharaj. So he will always be in that category, always, eternally, because he's given it now. And he's given it in the English language, 1,200 hours of recorded English darshans. All those audios have been kept. So the importance cannot be understated of Srila Sridhar Maharaj's contribution, because his manner and his mode and his mood and everything about his presentation, especially in English, is just breathtaking. One of his godbrothers, who really was so worshipful, had such a worshipful mood towards Srila Sridhar Maharaj, although he was even senior in coming to the lotus feet of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. Who's that? Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj. He would often state that I consider Sridhar Maharaj to be my Siksha Guru. And he even wrote Vyasa Puja offerings for him while he was on the planet. And my Guru Maharaj, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he also wrote, also spoke and glorified Srila Bhakti Raksak Sridhar Maharaj. He directly stated, I consider Sridhar Maharaj to be my Siksha Guru. So what to speak of the benefit others will derive? He also invited Srila Bhakti Raksak Sridhar Maharaj in his final year. Prabhupada went over there and personally invited. There's a recording of the conversation. He's requesting Srila Sridhar Maharaj to come and live in Mayapur, in the house that Jayapataka Maharaj is building for him. That he will live together with Srila Prabhupada Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj in the house that is being built. And Srila Prabhupada says to him, and do not worry, you will not have to go anywhere of your own energy. They're building a lift and everything will be arranged. People are coming from all over the world. And then Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, yes, yes, very scholarly people are coming. Yes, yes, from all over the world. And how much benefit they will derive from your association like this. This is what it was. And Srila Prabhupada also directly said that he wanted him to receive the official position of being the president of ISKCON. So, okay, plus Srila Sri Bhakti Raksak Sridhar Maharaj is the one who presented the idea, his proposal to our Srila Prabhupada that same year in 77. I think it was 77. No, it was before that. It might have been in 75 or 76. But he had intimated to our Prabhupada that he had a very, heart-nurturing desire. Previously, over many years ago, he wanted to build a facility, a structure on his property there, which would depict the journey of Gopakumara in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Because Brihad Bhagavatamrita is one of the favorite shastras of Srila Bhakti Raksak Sridhar Maharaj. And he wanted to show the journey, with the structure. So when he said that to our Srila Prabhupada, then Prabhupada remarked, that will be built there in Mayapur, and it will be built under your direction. This temple that's coming up here is Srila Sridhar Maharaj's idea. Okay? Yes. Planetarium, TOVP, Temple of the Vedic Planetarium, showing the structure of the universe. Now there's some history about how that evolved, and I was inquiring from one of my godbrothers, disciple of Srila Prabhupada, Pancharatna Prabhu, at the time when Sahadev Prabhu left his body. I met him at that time, and I was expressing to him that I just wanted to know some of the history over the years, because I thought that Prabhupada had already designated a place far out in the rice fields, way far away, from where the current structure is going up. So he clarified a lot of that to me, and Prabhupada did actually lay a cornerstone there also. So, but at any rate, over the years, there were different conversations where Srila Prabhupada is talking with his scientist devotees. And he's telling them, you study Srimad Bhagavatam 5th Canto, then you come to a conclusion how this should be done. Like this. So, but anyway, that remains to be seen. They have some kind of plan. I don't know if I particularly agree with it, because how the structure is described in the 5th Canto and so forth. But at any rate, that's a separate matter. That temple was coming in that kind of a form that it would be like a planetarium, is Srila Sridhar Maharaj's idea. And Prabhupada took that without him even asking. He said, yes, it will be built there, and it will be built under your direction. You never heard that before? My God. Yeah. Yes, so Srila Sridhar Maharaj, people all over the world now, because his books have been translated into at least a dozen major languages, even Chinese language, even Chinese. You know what Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj told? Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj told. Because he would hear. And he would also read the books that were produced while Srila Sridhar Maharaj was still on the planet, starting from the early 1980s, from his English darshans. So he was well aware of what Srila Sridhar Maharaj was speaking to a Western audience. And he remarked at that time, he says, actually, this is so unique what he is presenting here. He has not even previously spoken this in Bengali language. So therefore, all of his books should be translated from English into Bengali. Usually it's the opposite, Bengali to English. That's how important are Srila Bhakti Raksak Sridhar Maharaj's books. And from the English, they've been translated into all these languages. French, Spanish, German. I mean, they're all over the world. All different world languages. Use the mic. Yes, Devamai.
She translated his books into Bengali.
She did? That's the first time I'm hearing this. But they haven't been printed or published, have they? What?
Yeah, I have PDFs of them.
Oh, but they've never been printed then?
No, they've been printed by Chaitanya Saraswati.
When were they printed? I've never seen physically ever in Bengali language. Of course, I haven't really looked at their stock of his Bengali books. Wow. Wow, this is epic. Speaking of epic publications, you know what I just saw? It was sent to me by, forget her name. She's from Costa Rica. She's always, for many years, with Premananda Prabhu, Bon Maharaj, she's a disciple of Gurudev. She was always with the Parikramas. Yes, Radhakanti. She wrote me a message that had an advertisement for, guess what? The first volume of Chaitanya Charitamrita that includes chapters 1 and 2 in English, translated from the Bengali with 4 or 5 commentaries. Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. What else? Bhakti Raksak Sridhar Maharaj has some commentary. Anyway, you have to look at it. They've printed it. And then I looked at the bottom of the advertisement and it has the name Gokul Chandra. He's been working on the Hindi translation, isn't it?
Yes.
From the Bengali? Or how?
He published it in Hindi.
He published it fully, the whole thing, in Hindi, with all the commentaries?
I'm not sure if it's complete.
You know?
Yes, with the commentaries.
With all those commentaries in Bengali. How many volumes?
It's available in temple also.
How many volumes?
Exactly.
Okay, like a few volumes, 4 or 5, like that. Yeah, because it's the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita.
I was selling it during
Oh, you were? Okay.
And actually, they wanted me to work on the English one.
They wanted you to what?
To work on the English one. But they wanted to make the nuns so weekend.
Okay. Anyway,
Ordered that to be done.
yes. But you know, I remember Gurudev saying, even before he went to the West, like in 1995, before he went to the West, I remember him telling to us, I want to give whole Chaitanya Charitamrita with the purports of these Acharyas. You see? So it's been Gurudev's desire to have that, and that's why Gokul Chandra took it up. And now it's coming into the English language. I have been waiting for that. I hope it gets done quickly. I don't know who's working on it, but I just wrote a message like, where do I buy it? And who is the translator into English? Those are my 2 questions to them. So, we're swimming in an ocean of Vaishnava literatures that we'll never be able to read before our final breaths, but we should try as much as possible, right? But I mean, now we have that's going to be such a contribution. We have all the Bhagavatam with all the different commentators, Chaitanya Bhagavat with Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati's commentary. Was there any other commentaries of Chaitanya Bhagavat? Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also had a commentary for Chaitanya Charitamrita, but it wasn't fully complete. I remember Gokul Chandra was telling me that. Yeah? Amazing. Hare Krishna. Here's the introduction to Srila Bhakti Raksak Sridhar Maharaj's Golden Volcano of Divine Love. And I was saying that the reason why this title is there, he'll explain that. But his epic poem, Prema Dhamma Deva Stotram. So Mahaprabhu is called Prema Dhamma Deva. That's how he's referred to in that stotra. Eva Nomi Gaura Sundaram. To my beautiful golden Lord Gaura Sundar, who is the Prema Dhamma Deva, who is the very abode of praying. But amongst those shlokas, there's a shloka that describes him, and it will be in this introduction, you'll hear that. It describes Mahaprabhu as a golden volcano. And the lava that comes from the golden volcano is his Vani, Sikshastakam. So, here it goes. I'm starting. I don't really care about time. Where is my phone? Oh, okay. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu preached the full-fledged theistic conception given in Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, years and years ago, I remember seeing that terminology, full-fledged theistic conception. In English language, full-fledged means the complete, the entire, not with anything minimized, full-fledged. Because the theistic conception means Who is God? Who is God? What is God? What is the absolute truth? What is the source of the creation? What is all of these existential questions? That's the topic of theism. To try to understand, is there God? Is there not God? What if there is a God, if there's a creator, if there's a source? What's the nature of that source? All of these things. So the Vedas, they answer this question. All throughout the Vedic literatures, this question is dealt with. Whether it be the original 4 Vedas, Puranas, Mahabharata, all of that. But it becomes more and more condensed and more focused in detailing what is the actual highest conception of the absolute truth. And therefore, the philosophical presentation of the summary of the entire philosophical conceptions of all the Vedic literatures was written by Srila Vyasadeva, and it was titled Brahma Sutra, Vedanta Sutra. And there, the complete philosophical conceptions are given. But yet, we know that it's lacking. It's not full theistic conception. Then what did he write after that? And the whole story we heard the other day in Guru Purnima, how Vyasadeva then received the mercy of Narada, and then he meditated, and then he wrote Srimad Bhagavatam. So the Srimad Bhagavatam is the full theistic conception. No other literature can compare with it. No other literature, not even close. So he's saying that that's Mahaprabhu, this is what he preached. When Mahaprabhu descended, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu preached the full-fledged theistic conception given in Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam, it mainly deals with the comparative study of theism and also the ontology of Krishna consciousness. The ontology, what does ontology mean? You know the meaning of ontology? Ontological? Okay, what's your vague idea?
It's not like historical.
It's not what?
Like ontological. It's not historical. It's I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, ontology means the study of the origin of a particular subject or a particular object. Ontology is the study of the origin. You see? Yes. So here he's saying that the Srimad Bhagavatam studies comparative study of theism and the ontology of Krishna consciousness. How does Krishna consciousness, how does it derive? And how did it develop into what we find as the full-fledged conception of theism? You see? Now, the Brahma Vaivarta Purana and the Padma Purana, 2 Puranas, these two, Brahma Vaivarta and Padma Purana, they represent the importance of devotion to Krishna through narration and through history to some extent. But they fall short of the philosophical and the ontological standards set by the Mahapurana Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam can satisfy all Vedantic scholars, for it represents Krishna consciousness in its fullest dignity. Srimad Bhagavatam expounds as the highest attainment of theism, not consciousness, not intelligence, or ontology, but What does it expound? Ecstasy, beauty, and harmony. Rasa. In Srimad Bhagavatam, rasa is all important. It is a unique treatise, for it takes theism from the plane of intellectual jugglery to the domain of rasa. That's Srimad Bhagavatam. See, that one paragraph from Srila Bhakti Raksak Srila, unparalleled, uncanny, incomparable. Now he tells the story that I once began writing a book which was to be a summary study of the 18,000 verse Srimad Bhagavatam. Now Bhaktivinoda Thakur condensed the whole Bhagavat principle into 1,000 verses in his Bhagavat Tarka Marichi Mala. Now I had a mind to consolidate it even more, to represent it within 300 verses. I began that book, but I could not finish it. So Srimad Bhagavatam is a vast treatise in the Sanskrit language, filled with essential information, historical reference, and expositions on the major schools of philosophy. In Srimad Bhagavatam, many minor points of history and geography are also mentioned, which, although non-essential, they support its conclusions. And I thought to myself, reading this yesterday, geography, maybe fifth canto, like that. He's putting it into that category. They're non-essential, but they support the conclusions. So whatever is unnecessary in Srimad Bhagavatam is eliminated when its meaning reaches its purest and its most intensified glory in the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Again, whatever is unnecessary in Srimad Bhagavatam is eliminated when its meaning reaches its purest and most intensified glory in the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So did our Gurudev say something similar to this? Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj? Did he say something along that same vein of thought? That the non-essential eliminated. Well, first of all, he said, if 10th canto were not there, Srimad Bhagavatam would not be anything of great importance. And then he went even further. Exactly what is being told here. When it reaches its purest and finest, highest glory. If Krishna's pastimes with the gopis and the gopis' 5 Gitas, songs, were not there in the Srimad Bhagavatam, because these are like the 5 life heirs, then Srimad Bhagavatam would not be particularly of the greatest value. So the point is, when that focus is concentrated and developed, that focus on the most essential, on the essence of the essence of the essence, then the non-essential parts will not be given as much emphasis. So if we are to consider the very gist of the Srimad Bhagavatam, then we must study the life and the precepts of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And our Prabhupada did that because his introduction to his Srimad Bhagavatam is the life of Mahaprabhu and his teachings. That whole section of the introduction is mainly telling that. Very many pages, something like 20, 25 pages. So he presents Mahaprabhu as the preacher of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, just as the teachings of the great author of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Vyasadeva, were percolated by the realizations of Shukadeva Goswami, the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam has been percolated by the life and the precepts of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You know what a percolation is? That term is used when people make like ground coffee from the coffee beans, and then it percolates. It's like bubbles and boils, and it's called percolating because it draws out the taste from the coffee. So they call that percolating, isn't it? Yes. So, just as Shukadeva Goswami percolated the Srimad Bhagavatam of Vyasadeva by expressing his realizations of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So Shukadeva Goswami percolated the whole Srimad Bhagavatam. So he says, in the same way, the essence of the Srimad Bhagavatam has been percolated by the life and the precepts of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yes. So therefore, because the teachings of Sriman Mahaprabhu represent the gist of the Srimad Bhagavatam, I would like to include here one of the verses I originally composed to introduce my summary study. It glorifies the position of Gadadhar Pandit, the most intimate associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gadadhar Pandit used to read Srimad Bhagavatam in Jagannath Puri at the Tota Gopinath temple. He would read, and Sriman Mahaprabhu and the great devotees like Swarup Damodar, Ramananda Roy, they were in his audience. Here's the verse. Nilambodhi tate sada svaviraha kshepanvitam bandavam Srimad Bhagavati Katha Madiraya Sanjivayam Bhatiya Srimad Bhagavatam Sada Svanayana Shrupayanai Pujayan Goswami Prabharo Gadadhara Vibhur Bhuyat Mareka Gati. His introductory verse that never made it into print, because that was going to be his summary study of the Bhagavatam. Here's the translation of this amazing verse. On the shore of the broad blue ocean, Gadadhar Pandit used to read Srimad Bhagavatam to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was suffering from the great internal pain of separation from himself, Krishna. Gadadhar Pandit supplied the wine of Krishna Leela to intoxicate his afflicted friend and give him relief. As he read, tears would fall from his eyes like flower offerings onto the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. May the pleasure of that brilliant personality, Gadadhar Pandit, the best of the Goswamis, be my only object in writing this book. So, the title of this book is The Golden Volcano of Divine Love. So he spoke this introduction when they were going to print the book, and they told him. So he gave this lecture. So the title of this book is The Golden Volcano of Divine Love. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt a great pain of separation from Krishna, which burned like fire and was expressed as the Sikshastakam. This is explained in Prema Dhamma Deva Stotram. Here's the Sanskrit slok. Shri Swarupa Raya Sangha Gambirantya Leelanam Dvadashabda Banhi Garbha Vipralamba Sheelanam Radhikadi Rudha Bhava Kanti Krishna Kunjaram Prema Dhamma Deva Eva Nomi Gora Sundaram. Diving deep into the reality of his own beauty and sweetness, Krishna stole the mood of Radharani, and garbing himself in her brilliant luster, he appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. For the last 12 years of his manifest pastimes, he was deeply absorbed in the mood of union and separation, and he shared his heart's inner feelings with his most confidential devotees. In the agony of separation from Krishna, here it is, volcanic eruptions of ecstasy flowed from his heart, and his teachings, known as Sikshastakam, appeared from his lips like streams of golden lava. I fall at the feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the golden volcano of divine love. You never heard that before? Or did you read it before? You did. Okay. So, he was vomiting the fire of painful separation from Krishna in the form of the Sikshastakam. And therefore Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is compared to a golden volcano, and the Sikshastakam is compared to divine lava. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught us that separation is the highest principle in divinity. And just as the most intense conception of ecstasy is association with Krishna, so the most intense conception of pain is separation from Krishna. Yet, the pain felt from Krishna's separation is far more intense than the ecstasy felt from his association. Sriman Mahaprabhu says, "Can't you understand the painful situation you are in? Your senses must have all been destroyed. Otherwise you would have died from the pain of separation from Krishna. It is inconceivable. We belong to him wholesale. He is all in all to us, but we can't see him. We are forcibly separated from him. How can we tolerate this?" Okay, and here's a quote that I was very surprised to see. It's Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Sridhar Maharaj is telling. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur once said, "I can't tolerate separation from Krishna any longer. I can go on for only 3 or 4 more days, and then I shall have to leave this body." You ever heard that one? So to love Krishna means that we shall have to die to live. This is one of his prime slogans, although it comes from Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually, die to live. But Srila Sridhar Maharaj gave it a whole realm of dimensions, die to live. So he says, to love Krishna means that we shall have to die to live. In the beginning, divine love seems like lava, like death. But really, it is nectar. It is life. Many persons in this ordinary world are also frustrated in love, right? In this material world, is there not a lot of frustration in the jivas trying to have loving relationships? So he's saying, many persons in this ordinary world are also frustrated in love. They sometimes go mad and they commit suicide because they can't tolerate the pain. But the pain which comes with separation from Krishna, although compared with lava, it is not injurious like lava. Kaviraj Goswami explains, here's the quote, Bahye visha jvala hoy, bitore anandamoy, Krishna premar adbhuta charita. The wonderful characteristics of divine love of Krishna is that although externally it works like fiery lava externally, but internally it is like sweet nectar that fills the heart with the greatest joy. This is the definition given by Kaviraj Goswami. If a devotee who's aspiring to become a devotee of Lord Chaitanya doesn't understand this, they will never be able to understand Mahaprabhu. Because sometimes we see mundaners, they hear about the suffering external of Mahaprabhu. They say, oh, this is horrible. Oh, this is horrible. Because they don't know this fact. Bitore anandamoy, internally, anandamoy, complete ecstasy. But, what's the other one? Bahye visha jvala hoy, like poison, burning like poison. Externally, it appears that way. Krishna premar adbhuta charita. This is the amazing characteristic of Krishna prema. Now, although it's almost getting to the end of this now, his short introduction, although he felt the greatest pain of separation from Krishna, Mahaprabhu, still within his heart, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu experienced the deepest ecstatic joy. Otherwise, why did he descend in a golden form? Why did Mahaprabhu descend in a golden form? With the bhav and the kanti of Srimati Radhika? Was he coming to suffer? No. We read the whole 4th chapter of Adi Leela. He was coming to taste the ecstasy that Srimati Radhika experiences. Never ever deviate from this understanding. Mundane and materialistic devotees, they can't tolerate. But those who are Premi Bhaktas, Rupanuga Vaishnavas, followers, really true followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his disciplic succession, they all know that Mahaprabhu was tasting the highest ecstasy that is available in the entire creation. So, yes, although he felt the greatest pain of separation from Krishna, still within his heart, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu experienced the deepest ecstatic joy. The ecstatic symptoms manifested by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, have you ever read about those? Did you ever read about Mahaprabhu's ecstatic symptoms that he manifested? Antya-lila, Chaitanya Charitamrita? You've heard about them. Did you ever read the Antya-lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita? So he says here that those ecstatic symptoms manifested by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu have never been found in the history of the world or even expressed in any scripture. In him, we find the highest conception of the ultimate reality. And this is explained in my Prema Dhamma Deva Stotram, shloka number 66. That follows the previous shloka, the previous shloka was 54. So now we're getting near the end of because 72 shlokas. So here he's quoting his shloka. Atmasiddhi Shavalila Purna Sokya Lakshanam Swanubhava Matta Nritya Kirtanatma Vantanam Advayaika Lakshya Purna Tattva Tat Parat Param Prema Dhamma Devam Eva Nomi Gaura Sundaram. Here's the translation. This is the all-conquering conclusion, the highest conception of the ultimate reality must also be the highest form of ananda, ecstasy. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna, who is ecstasy himself. And he is tasting his own sweetness and he is dancing in ecstatic joy. His own holy name is the cause of his ecstasy, expressed as dancing. And the holy name is the effect of his ecstasy, expressed as chanting. And the cause is the effect. The dynamo is creating ecstatic energy. You know what a dynamo is? If you have any electric power station, there is a machinery in that power station that is called the dynamo. It's what generates the electricity. So the dynamo is creating ecstatic energy which makes him dance. And his chanting distributes that ecstasy to others. Final sentence. In this way, by every word from his lotus mouth, and by every gesture and movement of his beautiful golden figure, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performs his ecstatic pastimes of divine love. Gaur Premanande. Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki jai. Jai Prema Dhamma Deva Stotram ki jai. Sachinandan Gaur Hari ki jai. Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Grantaraj Shri Chaitanya Charitamritam ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Oh, Ekadasi Titi ki jai. Again, Ekadasi Titi ki. Madhava Titi ki. Ekadasi Palan Kori Bhakta Vrinda ki. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Okay, we'll end here for today. And on Sunday, I'm going to read the biographical literature of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And then on Monday, we go there. Maybe we'll even continue a little bit after. We'll see. Like on the next Tuesday. We'll see. Very difficult to discontinue reading Srila Sridhar Maharaj. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol 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 Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol Gaur Premanande Vindai Tulsidebai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Sachavachai Namo Nama Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bevaja Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha